Okay, so this is another Q&A video about pre and post-op care for donors, sigh versus saying. This question was given to me by a couple of individuals, and I've just been kind of trying to gather my thoughts about what really should happen and what people have the best intentions. And not everything that we wish could happen does happen. Um, I'm going to start with a saying donor so we can get it out of the way. I mean, hopefully by the time you have a saying donor, you've known this person for a while, you've made your contract, they've been tested for bloodborne pathogens, they have their donor registration card from the Red Cross or some other company that deals with donating blood or plasma. Their sexual partners doesn't fluctuate, and that they practice safe sex. I mean, hopefully all of that has happened before you have like an 8 o'clock appointment for your donor to come over. And with that being said, just if they've never been over, have them come over a couple of times without donating. Let them be as comfortable as possible in your own home, or at least in their home. If you're a donor and someone is coming over to your house for the first time, clean. Try to keep things as clean and organized as possible. If you have a couch, make sure your couch looks nice. Wherever that you plan on socializing with this person, make sure it looks like a safe environment. Don't let people trip and fall over things or crunch things or feel intimidated by your couch, or your bed or your counter. Like I said in a previous video, we absorb so much information. Some people can handle chaos when things are just everywhere, and some people like myself can't. When there's too much information and too much for me to look at, I am blind, because I can't look at everything, and I just like I'm like, can we get out of here? It makes me so uncomfortable. So for me, if I had a donor coming over, the first thing I would be doing is cleaning like mad. I'd be lighting some candles, I'd be clearing the air. I might even light some incense, and just like open up all the windows, let everything escape, make it a very clean and calm environment. I would locate all my medical tools, band-aids, alcohol, cotton swabs, sharps container, new sharps, new clean sharps. Do not reuse anything. And if you're going to, because we can't just say that you can't do that, boil them, sterilize them with fire, wear gloves, make sure that there's only a certain amount of contact. Do things as cleanly as possible. Set all that up in a way that's not all over the counter. And designate where you're hoping to have that sort of situation and where your donor would like to have that sort of situation. Some people will be like, the bed is a good place. And some people are like, no, the counter or the bathroom sink is good. And always make sure that you and your donor understand that there's either a certain level of platonic relationship or there isn't. I myself, I'm Sai, sang in tantric, so I'm very clear with my donor on what's happening if I choose to have that sort of situation. Try to nail it down to feeding only one way per an incident with a donor. for me, it's extremely tempting to not do that. For me, it's, that can be sexual, and then they are down for like an 8-hour nap. And, I'm up 45 minutes later like a squirrel, just being like, just absolutely nuts. Like, I could run circles around the bed while they slept. It's like a nocturnal animal with the sun setting. It's like, I'm awake. Where's the coffee? Haha. It's terrible. And I feel bad because they're just out for the count. They're drooling. They're just like, I'm like, hey, hey, hey. And they're just like they can't even hear you. So, make sure that if you are going to feed on blood, that's something you probably do first or second, and that make sure you have a really good band-aid over that. That way, if there's any roughhousing or rough tumbling, if they're not exhausted by then, that area is covered. Clean sheets. If they're gonna take a nap on your couch, you make sure you have a nice area for them set up to crash out. Go make them some eggs. Go get them some soda or some coffee. Give them something. Give them something. When they come over, just like, hi, I made you cookies. I made you muffins. Try to keep it healthy. Like, I made you dinner. Something like quinoa and zucchini with meatballs or something. Something hearty and healthy, pertaining to what they would prefer to eat. Do what you can. Your donors are not they're not your slave. They're not your sub. They're not your pet. They deserve respect. And of course, all those dynamics would deserve your respect, but sometimes that gets overlooked. Your donor is giving you something. You need to give them something in return, even though energetically there's always some sort of exchange. If you're going to feed on blood, set up all your stuff and be like, are you good? Is this, do you still want to do this? Are you sure? Yes, you can proceed would be a good way to start that. I prefer to make X's or hash marks. Something that would look mostly accidental. I will admit that some of my hash marks on me don't look accidental. And they don't look like a cat mauled me either. But it gets the job done, and I find that healing is better that way. Make sure you cleanse the area well, brush your teeth, mouthwash, scrape your tongue, floss, all that good stuff. Make sure that your mouth is the cleanest environment possible if you're going to do mouth to skin. I'd recommend that if you're going to try syringes, that you take a nursing 101 class or a phlebotomist class, some way for you to learn how to do that safely and practice and know your stuff. I do know people that do that. And, they'll use a glass or a vial, that way that, there aren't any marks on their donor. Make sure that they're properly hydrated, they have enough water, food, if they're going to crash out, that they crash out in a safe place. If they do crash out, keep it quiet. Don't make a whole lot of noise. Let them sleep. When they wake up, just be like, thank you very much. If you don't have anything, give them a couple of dollars. And when I mean that, if I had absolutely nothing to give a donor, I'd give them like $25 and be like, thank you. If it was an entirely platonic relationship, which for me, they usually aren't. For someone who's going to feed on psionic energy, sitting down on the couch, breathing, even if you're going to watch a movie and just play with somebody's hair, if they start to feel faint, make sure that you're like, are you good? Are you okay? Do you want me to stop? And you're just like, no, keep going. It's great. I'm just like, fabulous. For people that I have fed on not so consensually, usually their clients, they're really stressed out. They're fidgeting in the chair. They're upset. They have the angry 11s, they're like, and, they're just really, really upset. And I'm like, you know what? here we go. Good night. And I mean, 30 minutes later, they're sitting in the chair like, and I'm like, and then they wake up and they're like, oh, I'm so tired, but it feels so refreshed. I feel so good. And it's like, good. I'm glad you're happy. No need to tip me. You already tipped me. And they go on their way, and they feel comfortable. I analyze people before feeding on them like that. Are they healthy? When was the last time they ate? How old are they? All the things that, the nurse asks you at an x-ray, is there a possibility that you're pregnant? Are you nursing? I go through the checklist of these things, and if there's even a whiff of, you could have a compromised immune system, or you're just emotionally not well right now, I'm not even touching you. I'm like, nope, I'll do your service and be like, thank you for coming and have a good day, and then I'll just be gone. That'll be it, and they won't even know what happened. They'll just be like, that wasn't relaxing. I'm like, sorry. There are some people that I will refuse to relax that way by, taking their negativity, taking their stress and pain and just that tense feeling off of them, taking the edge off. That's usually how I prefer to filter for people, and how I prefer to give back calm to people. That's how I do my energy exchange, and that's usually through something nice. I've seen people who do like feeding with fire, and I'm like, I'll just give you a massage or play with your hair, or curl up with you. Even just being in close proximity with me, I kind of have to watch it. And then the last thing we would get to is tantric feeding, which can be sexual. Can be, not always. And that also leads into ambient feeding. Worst case scenario is that you're feeding on someone sexually, and then there are things like birth control, protection, precautions, and backup plans for mistakes. I'm sure we all know how that works. Watching how many partners you have. I can tantrically feed. I'm celibate. No man has ever come into my apartment that isn't maintenance. Which is funny because I know for a fact I have a load of condoms in my nightstand. I swear to God, those are not mine. Swear. Maybe I should donate them. You think Planned Parenthood would take those? Anyway, feeding for me tantrically does not require physical contact. There are some people that will feed physically just by, touching even residual objects. Someone picks something up and puts something down, and I can pick it up, and there it is. That residual energy is something I can take. It's very tedious and very annoying, and it's a lot like eating a negative food. It takes more energy to process than it is to consume it. So I don't do that very often, but I can. I can be sitting at a table in a restaurant and look across and compel someone and be like, I'm over here, and just have them stare and be like, hi. And be like, why am I staring at this girl? I don't even know this girl. And just be like, hi. Just a simple locking of eye contact or touching someone for me is, there are times where I've been in close proximity where people have brushed my arm and gone, man, I'm tired, and go, whoops. I don't have a donor, so it's hard for me to exactly go through a procedure on what pre and post care would be, but I think I covered all the major things. Make sure you have a contract with your donor, make sure you've discussed things with your donor. I would almost say that if you met someone on the first of the month, that you shouldn't be thinking about feeding on them until mid next month. is that that's the amount of time that needs to go through processing that relationship before feeding. I know people that fly by the seat of their pants, and you know they'll be on FetLife and they'll be like looking for a donor. You know, I need one in 4 days, and I'm just like, oh my god, that is like the worst. Don't do that. You do not know who you're getting. Both people don't know who they're getting, and it's such a bad idea. Don't do that. Be safe and make sure that, you know, if this isn't a romantic relationship that you are having with the donor, that they know about it. That, you know, the communicating and talking about your issues and their issues, and, you know, if you're looking for a donor, look for a donor. Don't go procuring a friend to be your donor. Don't do that. That is coercion. Don't do it. Technically, it's lying to someone. You have an ulterior motive for being their friend. That's not fair to them. You know, make sure that when you say that you are looking for a donor, that that's exactly what you mean, and that you're meeting that person and becoming friends with that person because you are looking for a donor, not the other way around. Don't make friends with people and then be like, hey, you know, want to be my donor? Don't do that. That's bad. Shame on you. I know people that have done that, and I'm just like, what the F is wrong with you? And they're just like, oh, I don't know, I can't help myself. I'm like, that is the worst excuse ever. Shame on you. Shame, doom, dishonor on you, dishonor on your cow, dishonor on your whole family. Can't even get over that. Don't do that. I think that's all I can really say. Yeah. Alcohol, mouthwash, keep things as clean as possible. And if you're gonna feed on someone and then hit the sheets, happens so often, make sure that they understand that that also is another way of feeding. That, you know, if it's not, if it's a romantic relationship, that's fine. That happens a lot. But make sure that they understand that that's what that is. That's already almost like a physical tendency. Is that you know, curling up with someone is not because you have fluffy bunny feelings for them. It's probably because you need the contact. You know, it's like a cat. You know, it's like, I love you, I love you. It's like, my bowl is empty, feed me. You know, it's like, oh, you know, they're so lovey and affectionate. It's like, yeah, it's probably because their bowl is empty. You know, I don't want to make vampirism and people who are afflicted with it seem heartless, because it's so not the case, but that can happen. People have miscommunications all the time. I have had friends that have had multiple donors, and they're just like, oh, you know, I have a collar and it's beautiful and I'm someone's pet. It's like, you're someone's donor, and you obviously don't know that yet. And I know some people who are donors in the community that are nothing but fangbangers, that are vamp chasers. All you can do is support them in their happiness and wait for things to go south. I'm such a pessimist. That's why I don't have a donor. But I think that concludes the end of this video. I hope that answered your questions. If you have any extra questions, please put them in the comments below. And if there's anything that I forgot or missed, because sometimes I'm a bonehead, let me know in the comments below. Like, subscribe. There will be new videos soon. Blah.